Hello and welcome, everybody. Today we will be talking about letter writing. I'm Adonayaz, and we will have the topic today, which is about technical business writing, how to write letters, how to do official writing, how to make correspondence, and etc. etc. So let's have a look. First, we have a little definition about letters. So letters are external correspondence that you send from your company to another company or to colleague working at another company, to a vendor, to a prospective client, to an agency, or to a friend who lives around the corner or across the continent. Okay, this is the one thing. The other thing, letters leave your work site as opposed to memos, which stay within the company. So memos are within the company and letters are gone. They are sent outside the company. Moving on. So importance of effective letters, so how important they are. So they say less letters must be written effectively because they are sent to readers in other locations. Letters not only reflect the writer's communication abilities, but also serve as a reflection of the company that you're working in. A letter that is sloppy, marred with the grammatical mistakes or errors, or creates a negative tone, leads to bad impression. If your letter communicates incorrect information regarding prices, guarantees, due rate, promises, or equipment, and labor, the labor commitments, your company will be held legally responsible. Of course, the letters actually serve as a purpose, as a record, and they can actually, the companies later, people can sue your company on the basis of those things. So they're very important and effective, and make sure writing them is one of the most difficult tasks ever if you do not know how to do that. So moving on. So how many components of letter do you think there are? So here are the components, which are 8. Number 1 comes writer's address, then number 2, date, number 3, inside address, number 4, salutation, number 5, the letter body, which we call body of the letter, and number 6, complimentary close, number 7, signed name, and number 8, typed name. So let's have a look at them one by one. Let's see what they are. So first thing we have is writer address. So they say personal address or company's address. May use a printed or letterhead stationery. Some companies have this printed letterhead that they don't really need to write that address. So if the heading consists of your address, so make sure to include your street address and do not abbreviate the word streets, avenue, road, or drive, etc., etc. Do not use the abbreviated from there. Include city, state, and zip code. Do not include your name. The state may be abbreviated with appropriate 2-letter abbreviation if really needed. Moving on to continuing that, if the heading consists of your company's address, include the company's name, the street address, the city, state, and the zip code. Number 2 comes the date. Make sure to put the date there after the address. Number 2, the second thing, the most important thing comes, is the date. Document the month and the day and the year. As mentioned here, you can write it in 2 ways, May 31st, 2018, or you can write 31st May 2008. That could be, it could be your choice, any way you may choose it. Number 3 comes at the inside address. Mention the address of the receiver of your letter, 2 spaces below. So this is how you can you can skip 2 lines and then you can mention the inside address after the date. What is the inside address? Your address. Okay, I'm writing this letter to somebody, and that somebody's address should be this. This is what we call this somebody's receiver's address. Okay, the first one was my address, and the second one was this one, is that the inside address that we're talking about is the inside address, and it is about the person who is going to receive your letter. Number 4 comes salutation. It's the most important part. Salutation is placed 2 lines or 2 spaces beneath the inside address. So it is supposed to be like, dear Mr. Smith, or respected Mr. Smith. Okay. So we were talking about the salutation then. So you can definitely mention that there. It's supposed to be like dear, or it's not dear actually. It's dear Mr. Smith, or you can make it respected Mr. Smith followed by a column. You have to put the column at the end of that name. Okay. Make sure that if there is a woman you're writing to, so make sure if she's married, you can if you're sure that she's married, so you can mention Mrs. Jane. And if you're not sure about her marital status, so state Miss Jane instead of saying Mrs. Jane, because that will flare her up. Number 5 comes the body of the letter, of course, and the main important part of the letter. It is then divided into 3 paragraphs: introductory paragraph, then discussion paragraph, and then concluding paragraph. It is very much similar to an essay or a speech. You divide your speech in 3 parts, and this is how the body of the letter is divided. Moving on to number 6, which is complimentary close. It is placed by at the end and followed by a comma and the 2 spaces below the concluding paragraph. So when you put the last paragraph, the body, after 2 lines after that, you put this complimentary close, and you can mention there, yours truly, yours sincerely, sincerely yours, truly yours, and then you add what? A comma over there. And comes number 7, is sign. There's supposed to be a signed name, which is signed beneath the complimentary clause. And then comes number 8, which is typed name, and it's 4 spaces below the complimentary clause. Okay, so you have to skip 4 lines, and then that's how you do it. So if you wish to, you may type your title 1 space beneath your typed name as well. So there's an option that you write your name, and below that name, you can write your designation as well. That's an optional part. You can look at here. This is the example of type name and signed name. This is sincerely, this is complimentary close followed by comma, and there is a signature. Okay, this is where we signed the name, and then there's a typed name, and this is the designation. I hope you get it. Now, this is the type of a letter that you were talking about, that we were actually talking about today in today's lecture. So all the 8 components will be actually very much visible, prominent to you here. Writer's address, see the date here, then reader's address, receiver's address, that's what it is. And then salutation, then whole body of the letter, then complimentary close, signed name, and then typed name. And you can, of course, mention your designation here if you really wish to. That's all, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for listening to me. And do make sure to appreciate the channel, like it, whatsoever. You know the procedure, you know what to do, what I mean. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.